Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We've had to scale down the technology a little bit, but I did want to get these messages out, and it makes it easier at this level rather than transferring a large file. Okay, two different short videos. The first one on the question of age. This one will be called Turning 69. Now, that was my birthday yesterday. 69 is a rather big number, I admit. I like to divide life into four quartiles, given that the average age of demise in Canada is around 80. So I'm well into the fourth quartile, still in the first half of the fourth quartile. Okay, by any statistical analysis, the average life expectancy of a Canadian male is around 79. So I have about 10 years. But if you're a little bit more sophisticated in your actuarial analysis, you'll see that if you arrive at 69, this was a lawyer friend who pointed this out to me, then your life expectancy is 84 rather than 79, because it doesn't include all the people who died earlier at 50 or even in infancy. Okay, so let's say 15 years if all is well. Of course, at any point in time, God can take us, and we never know what's happening tomorrow. That's part of the spiritual approach. But statistically, 15 years left. Okay, so what do we do with those years? Now, most people are taught that after 60, 65, you should be winding down. But my personal take right now is that I'm probably going to be winding up rather than winding down. Why is that? Well, I spent the last 50 years trying to learn things about life and about spirituality, and now I feel an obligation and a desire at the same time to share this with others. So, I expect to be more active in the next 15 years, God willing, health willing, in sharing whatever I've learned, either via book publishing or via conferences or via meetings, or in this manner through short YouTube videos. Now, we live in a society that's kind of ageist and seems to mostly favor youth. However, we find ourselves in this kind of unusual contradiction that most people are obliged to retire by 65, and yet the two leading presidential candidates, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, are both around the same age as I am. Donald Trump being 6 months older, Hillary Clinton being 10 months younger, but basically in the same ballpark to take on what is probably the most difficult job in the world at a period where everyone else is supposed to stop working. So there's an issue of values here. And of course, one of my major teachers on the spiritual path, who I still have a great admiration and love for, may his soul be elevated, was Sheikh Nazim Haqqani of Cyprus. And whenever he would meet someone who was retired, he would look them in the eyes with a quizzical look on his face and always say, "Tired or retired?" What he meant was, are you too tired to work? Why aren't you useful anymore? You can work and be useful to the end of your life. And he was right. One of my major psychiatry teachers, Dr. Heinz Lehmann, died at the age of 87 and stopped working a month before he died because he was no longer able. He was very devoted to his profession and his career. So bottom line is there's no reason to stop. And whenever I see people who are retired, they do look tired and they look kind of bored and depressed. And for sure, they must feel useless. If they don't, they should. We're put on this earth to be a servant of Allah, a servant of God, and therefore we should be trying to do service, no matter what the age. And the contemporary value put on just enjoying yourself, favorite song of my parents in my younger days was "Enjoy Yourself." Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. And I thought that gave the absolutely wrong message that life is about enjoyment and pleasure rather than service. Now, I'm not trying to be super egoic here or excessively hard in my conscience, because I actually get pleasure in giving and serving, and the pleasure situations often seem to be filled with displeasure and boredom and ennui and dissatisfaction. So pleasure is not the way to get pleasure. Oddly enough, some of the harsh spiritual practices bring the most pleasurable situations. So that's most of what I want to say. I think people should not get depressed and desperate because they're getting old, especially if their health is holding up. We do have people like Jimmy Carter out there still being active at 90 years old, and Shimon Peres from Israel as well. And they are our examples in some ways of trying to be useful right to the end, and that is my intention as well. So, Assalamu alaikum and greetings to all of you, young or old, and I hope this gives you a little bit of perspective on the aging process. Thank you.